Friday morning, you would have heard a chat that was had in this show with Johannes Wessels of Enterprise of Observatory of South Africa. And long story short, very concerning results from their research showing that for every professional immigrating to South Africa, there are 8 South African professionals ready to leave the country. So there are people wanting to immigrate, but there are more wanting to emigrate. So the Department of Labour is in the process of implementing the draft regulations on the employment of foreign nationals, and industry has been invited to comment, but not just industry. You're on the ground are able to comment on this as well. The draft regulations include proposals affecting the applications of work visas, corporate visas, and the submission of skills transfer plans. But to tell you more about this, Marisa Jacobs, Director and the Head of Immigration and Mobility at Xpatweb. Marisa, good morning. Good having you on the show.
Good morning, Kino. Thank you for having me.
You know, I can go on my knees and pray. I mean, we've got a shortage of a lot of skills. Yes, we've got talented people in the country, but we've got a shortage of skills. And Canada found themselves in that position. I've said this last week as well, and they just headhunt their way out of it. We don't. We make it difficult for people to come into this country. Even people with scarce skills, like doctors, for example, struggle to get work here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. I think if the person is ultimately a really skilled person and business wants to bring them into South Africa and they are recruiting outward, we've never had an issue in terms of securing a work visa for that professional person ultimately. I think the country government isn't enabling. It's government's job to enable businesses to seek skills outwardly.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, if you look at anyway, we can go down that route. But I don't think we've got time to actually talk about what government is doing. Let's talk about, or not doing for that matter. Let's talk about these draft regulations, though. Give it to us in a nutshell. What are they proposing, and what are we commenting on?
Sure. So the Department of Labour is involved in 2 different categories of visa when it comes to applying for work visa. So that's the general work visa and the corporate visa. Mm-hmm. So these regulations are drafted around the Department of Labour's involvement in applying for those 2 categories of visa. So it doesn't speak about critical skills visas, only those 2 categories. And then very importantly, the skills transfer plan. And that, I think, is the area where we need to focus our attention on and give our comments in terms of it's the Department of Labour's responsibility to protect jobs and to create jobs for South Africans. But also they seem to be widening their net to say, let's also make sure that we are upskilling our local workforce. If you are bringing in a skilled professional, it's your responsibility to make sure that you have formulated a skills transfer plan and that you are ensuring implementation, monitoring and reporting in terms of that skills transfer plan to ensure that your local workforce is being upskilled and is benefiting from this foreign skill.
So if I bring someone in who is, I don't know, natural language processing specialist, and we don't have many of them in South Africa, as an example, I'm not saying we don't, but I bring that particular person in, is government saying that person needs to assist us in training other South Africans in that skill set while they're here?
Correct. It's asking that your business must identify a person or persons within your business and formulate a program where some of those skills can be transferred to a local person, and we can start upskilling our local workforce to fill these positions in the future.
I mean, that's not a bad thing. I think it's essential for us to do that.
Definitely. We should. This is inevitable, and businesses should be doing this in any event. So I think, but the regulations aren't perfectly drafted. So we need to go look at that section and say, and especially the businesses who are getting it right at the moment, look at the regulations and say, guys, we need to add this or this. It sounds great, but in practice that isn't going to work.
So how do we, very quickly, because we're running out of time, it is 7 o'clock, where do we go to comment?
People can contact us. We are putting together a compiled application to the Department of Labour with comments from all of business, so people can please get in touch with us.
Okay, brilliant. You can just check out Google Expat with an X, web. Next.